I want to tell you about a night I'm not sure I've fully recovered from. I was 26, I was sitting on the floor of my apartment. I wasn't crying, I wasn't panicking, I was just sitting there. The lights were off, my phone was face down, I was completely still. And this thought arrived, not loud or dramatic, just quiet and heavy, like it had been waiting a long time to finally say it out loud. I don't recognize my own life. Not I'm failing, not I'm depressed, just this doesn't feel like mine. And the terrifying part? Everything was fine. Job, apartment, friends, ticking boxes nobody told me would feel this empty once I ticked them. I had everything I was supposed to want, and I felt like a stranger living in someone else's story. If you've ever felt that, and I mean really felt it, not just a bad day, not just stressed, that specific quiet feeling of being completely lost inside a life that looks completely fine, this video is for you, and I need you to stay, because what I'm about to share took me years to understand, and once you understand it, everything about why you feel this way finally makes sense. Let me start with something that broke me a little when I first read it. LinkedIn surveyed thousands of adults, and they found that 75% of people between 25 and 33 have experienced a quarter-life crisis. 3 out of 4 people. The average age it hits, 27. Now think about that for a second. Not a small group, not a rare condition. 3 out of every 4 people in their mid to late 20s are quietly falling apart, and nobody is talking about it the way it actually feels. Because when people talk about the quarter-life crisis, they frame it like a career problem. Oh, you just need to find your passion. Oh, you just need a better job. Oh, just follow your purpose. And I remember hearing that advice and feeling something close to rage. Because that's not what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a career problem. It feels like you woke up one day and realized the person living your life isn't really you. And the research confirms something even darker. Depression among young adults didn't just increase, it doubled. In 2017, 20% of 18 to 29-year-olds reported a depression diagnosis. By 2022, 1 in 3 young adults diagnosed with depression. And by 2023, 24.6% said they currently have depression, up from 13% 6 years earlier, nearly doubled in 6 years. And here's the thing that nobody connects loudly enough. Society is getting richer, technology is getting smarter, opportunity is everywhere, and we are getting more lost with every single year. Which tells you something important. The problem isn't outside, the problem is somewhere much closer. I want to describe something, and I want you to tell me, even just in your own head, if this sounds familiar. You wake up, not refreshed, just awake. Like your body completed the process of sleeping, but something in you never actually rested. You check your phone before you even feel real, and within 30 seconds, someone your age is already winning somewhere. New business, new city, new relationship, new everything. And this feeling shows up, not jealousy exactly, something quieter and heavier. Why does everybody seem to know what they're doing except me? You get up, do the things, go through the motions, and somewhere in the middle of a completely ordinary Tuesday, this thought drifts across your mind like smoke. Is this it? Is this what I worked for? Is this what my life is? And then you push it away. Open something, scroll something, distract yourself back into functionality. And nobody knows, because from the outside, you look completely fine. That's what the quarter-life crisis actually feels like. Not a breakdown, not a dramatic collapse. A quiet, persistent, terrifyingly ordinary feeling of being lost inside a life that looks fine. And the most common feelings researchers associate with it? Insecurity, uncertainty, disillusionment, loneliness, identity confusion. Not dramatic words, heavy ones. I want to tell you about someone I went to school with. One of those people who seemed to have it figured out before anyone else did. Clear goals, clear direction, clear plan, graduated top of his program, got the exact job he studied for, moved to a new city, built the life he'd planned on paper since he was 17, and 3 years later he called me. Not in crisis, not falling apart, just quiet. And he said something I've thought about almost every week since. I got everything I planned for, and I feel absolutely nothing. Like I built the wrong house, and now I'm supposed to live in it forever. And I asked him when it started feeling wrong. He said, I don't know. There wasn't a moment. It just slowly became obvious that the whole plan was someone else's plan, and I never stopped to ask if it was mine. That's how it happened, not suddenly, slowly. You followed the map everyone handed you. Study this, get this, do this, be this, and you do it well. You follow it faithfully, and one day you arrive at the destination that they promised and feel nothing. Because here's the truth the research finally confirmed. A quarter-life crisis isn't caused by failure, it's caused by succeeding at the wrong life. 61% of people say the biggest cause is not finding work that actually excites them. 48% say comparing themselves to more successful peers causes them serious anxiety. Research has found something even more disturbing. Young adults today feel tremendous pressure to achieve in every area of life simultaneously: career, relationship, finance, social status, health, identity, all at once, all perfectly, all on someone else's timeline, and that pressure is paralyzing. Some people spiral into a full-blown crisis that requires professional support, not because they are weak, but because they have been carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations while quietly neglecting the one question that actually matters: what do I actually want? Here's something I wish someone had told me when I was sitting on that floor. Not all quarter-life crises feel the same. Experts now identify two distinct types, and understanding which one you're in changes everything about how you move through it. The first one is called locked in. This is the one where you have something, a job, a relationship, a path, and it isn't right. You know it isn't right. You've known for a while, but leaving feels impossible because you've invested so much, because people depend on you, because failure feels worse than staying miserable. So you stay, and every morning you wake up and put on the performance of someone who has it together, while something inside quietly disappears. I knew a woman 3 years into a career she'd spent 5 years training for. Good salary, respected position, parents proud, completely hollow. She told me once, "I feel like I'm slowly erasing myself. Like every day I show up and leave a little less of me behind." That's the locked-in crisis, the terror of the cage that looks like success from the outside. The second type is called locked out. This is different. This is wanting something you can't get. The career, the relationship, the financial stability, the life that keeps appearing just slightly out of reach. You watch people your age achieve the things you want: marriage, promotion, home, stability, and you're still working toward the starting line. And the research is clear. Watching your peers hit milestones you deeply want for yourself significantly increases the risk of depression during this period. Because comparison has always been painful, but now you are not comparing yourself to your neighbor. You are comparing yourself to everyone. Every highlight reel, every announcement, every win posted at the exact moment you feel furthest behind, and the locked out crisis whispers something quietly devastating. Maybe it's not happening because it was never meant for you. That thought, that specific thought, is the one that can break someone who was never actually broken. I'm going to read you something now, slowly, and I want you to notice how many of these you recognize in yourself. Not as a diagnosis, as a mirror, believing your life lacks purpose, feeling like you might break at any moment for no reason you can explain. Emotional numbness, not sadness, just nothing. A lack of motivation for things that used to matter. Loneliness that exists even when you're surrounded by people. Situational anxiety that shows up in the most ordinary moments. That feeling of failing to launch, like everyone else figured out how to be an adult and you missed a class. Being torn between chasing something wild and just settling. FOMO, but not for parties, for a life that feels more real than this one. High-functioning anxiety, the kind where you perform completely okay while quietly falling apart inside. Restlessness, that specific energy that makes you want to quit everything or start everything, or just run without knowing where. Pulling away from people not because you don't love them, but because being around people takes energy you don't have anymore. The inability to decide what comes next, not because you're lazy, but because every option feels equally wrong. Disillusionment, that slow, heavy realization that the world doesn't work the way they told you it would. Feeling stuck. Hating your life while knowing you should be grateful for it. Hope fatigue, that specific exhaustion that comes from hoping things will change and watching them stay the same. Panic attacks arriving uninvited in the middle of ordinary days. Professional uncertainty that makes you question every decision you've ever made about your career. Relationship stress, not just romantic, but with yourself. Lack of direction, lack of clarity, the fog that doesn't lift no matter how much you plan. Low self-worth hiding behind high performance. An identity crisis, not knowing who you are outside of what you produce, what you achieve, what others need from you. Using things, substances, scrolling, anything to not feel the weight of the uncertainty. And finally, questioning everything you've done so far, every decision, every sacrifice, every version of yourself you've been. If you recognize yourself in more than a few of those, you're not broken. You are in a crisis that 75% of people your age are navigating in silence, and the silence is the most dangerous part. This is the part I wish I'd known when I was on that floor, because when you're in the middle of it, it feels like it will never end. Like this is just who you are now, someone who feels lost. But the Harvard Business Review mapped something that changed the way I understood what I was going through. there are 4 phases, and most people get stuck in the first one for years, not because they're weak, because nobody told them there was a way through. Phase 1, trapped. This is where it starts. The feeling of being locked into something that no longer fits. A job, a relationship, a version of yourself you're not sure you believe in anymore, and you can't leave, because leaving feels like failure, because leaving hurts people, because leaving means admitting you made the wrong choice, and so you stay. And the heaviness builds, and the questions get louder, and you scroll more, sleep more, feel less, because feeling less is better than feeling this. Phase 2, separation. Something shifts. Sometimes it's a decision, sometimes it's forced on you. A job ends, a relationship breaks. You move somewhere new, something changes. You are suddenly alone with yourself, in a way you have been avoiding. This phase is terrifying because you're no longer defined by the thing you left, but you don't yet know who you are without it. And that space, that in between, feels like being no one. Phase 3, reflection. This is the phase that determines everything. You start asking real questions, not what should I do next, but what do I actually want? What have I been running from? Who am I when nobody's watching? What would feel like mine? And these questions are painful because honest answers rarely sound like what you've been performing. But this phase, this uncomfortable, quiet, painful phase is where everything changes. Phase 4, exploration. You start moving, not with a perfect plan, not with certainty, not with the confidence everyone performs on LinkedIn, just one honest step in a direction that finally feels like yours. New experiences, new people, new understanding of who you actually are. And you emerge, not the same person, a more real one. The research says a quarter-life crisis typically lasts around 2 years, but for people who get stuck in phase 1, it lasts much longer because they never move, because movement feels like risk, because risk feels like failure, and failure feels like the worst possible outcome, when the truth is that staying stuck is the only real failure available to you here. I need to pause here because everything I've shared so far, the data, the phases, the types, is all real, but none of it gets to the actual root. I've been thinking about this for years, and I've talked to enough people going through this. It makes me believe something I want to say clearly. You don't feel lost because you're behind. You don't feel lost because you haven't found your passion. You don't feel lost because you chose the wrong career, or the wrong city, or the wrong relationship. You feel lost because you've been living someone else's life, and part of you finally woke up. Think about it. From the moment you were born, someone handed you a map. Go to school, study this, get this degree, find this job, meet this kind of person, buy this kind of home, build this kind of life, and you followed it. Because following the map felt safe. Because following the map meant approval. Because following the map meant you were doing it right. But the map was never yours. It was built by a previous generation navigating a completely different world with completely different rules. And the research says this explicitly. The life script previous generations followed is no longer set. And young adults today are wrestling, genuinely wrestling, to create lives aligned with their actual values rather than their inherited script. And that wrestling, that's the crisis, not failure. Awakening, the terrifying, disorienting, painful process of realizing the map they gave me doesn't lead anywhere I actually want to go. And now I have to find my own, without a compass, without certainty, without anyone who's been exactly here before. That's not weakness, that's one of the hardest things a human being can do. I'm not going to give you a clean list of steps because that's not how this works, and you already know that's not how this works. But I want to share what the research says, not as instructions, as reminders, things you probably already feel but needed someone to say out loud. The first thing is reflection. Real reflection, not journaling for an Instagram aesthetic, not writing your 5-year plan again. Actual honesty, the kind that happens when the room is quiet and you stop performing even for yourself. What do you actually want? Not what pays, not what impresses, not what the map says. Stop comparing. What would feel like yours? Think about the moments you felt most alive, not most productive, not most successful. Connection, most alive. What were you doing? Who were you with? What felt real? One honest step, start there. The second thing is stopping the comparison. I know you've heard this, but the reason it keeps coming up is because it keeps destroying people. The research is clear. You are comparing your entire life, your behind the scenes, your doubts, your bad mornings, your real struggles, to other people's highlight reels. That guy who seems 10 steps ahead, he's probably carrying the same feeling with different furniture, research says. You just don't see it because he's performing fine as well as you are. The third thing is connection, not followers, connection. The research on this is some of the most consistent in all of psychology. Social support is one of the most powerful predictors of moving through a difficult transition. Not advice, not solutions, being known by someone, one person who sees the real version of you, the confused, uncertain, quietly falling apart version, and doesn't need you to perform okay for their comfort. That kind of connection is rare now, which is exactly why it matters more. The fourth thing, this is the one people resist the most, is getting professional support. I know the resistance. I felt it. I told myself I was fine. I thought other people had real problems and I just needed to figure it out. But here is what the research says. Working with someone trained to help you understand yourself is genuinely transformative. That might be a therapist, a counselor, or someone who specializes in this period of life. Not because they have all the answers, because they create a space where you can finally be honest without performing. And that honesty, that terrifying, vulnerable, actual honesty is where the crisis starts to break. And the last thing, stop trying to figure it all out at once. The research on this is clear too. Trying to overhaul your entire life in one decision is one of the most reliable ways to stay paralyzed. Tiny movements, one honest step, one small choice that feels more like you than the choice before it. One conversation you've been avoiding, one application for something that scares you, one morning without performing, okay for yourself, one thing, and then another, and then another. I want to come back to that night on my floor, lights off, phone face down, quiet, and that thought, I don't recognize my own life. I stayed on that floor longer than I should have, and then I did something I still think about. I opened a notebook. Not to write a plan, not to set goals, not to fix anything, just to be honest. I wrote down what I actually wanted, not what I was supposed to want, not what made sense, not what would impress anyone, what I actually wanted, and it was messy, and contradictory, and vulnerable, and not at all what the map said, but it was mine. And that night, sitting on that floor in the dark, was the beginning of the only version of my life that has ever actually felt like mine. Not because I figured everything out, because I finally stopped pretending I wanted something I didn't. That's where it starts. Not with clarity, not with a plan, not with motivation, with honesty. But it was mine. One quiet, uncomfortable, terrifying moment of honesty. 75% of people between 25 and 33 have felt exactly what you're feeling. 1 in 3 young adults are carrying this weight right now, and the ones who come out on the other side are not the ones who find the perfect answer. They are the ones who stop performing long enough to ask the real question. What life is actually mine? Start there. Just there. If you're watching this at whatever time it is, late night, early morning, or the middle of a Tuesday when you should be doing something else, if something in this felt uncomfortably accurate, you're not broken. You're at the beginning of something, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it feels like the opposite. The quarter-life crisis isn't the end of your story. For most people, it's where their real story begins. Subscribe to Shadow Protocol because this channel exists for exactly this, the conversations that happen inside your head at 2 a.m. that nobody else is having out loud. Comment below, what phase are you in right now? Locked in, locked out, separated, reflecting, exploring. Tell me, because 75% of people watching this are in it with you, and the silence is the only thing that makes it harder. See you in the next one.